Welcome back, Mr. Goodberry. The First Star Logistics studio is fully equipped and ready to record.
Welcome back to Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. I'm your host, Joe Goodberry, and we are in the First Star studios at the First Star headquarters in Cincinnati, Ohio, as we have now entered our top 10 greatest Bengals of all time from our series. And if you haven't been following along, you can always go back. This stuff will be timeless. You'll be able to go back and review these players and see how they fit in and watch the highlights and reminisce on them anytime you want. Entering this top 10, we're going to kick it off with two guys. Most of the top 15 have been players, besides the running backs, that have been players that played 10 plus years for the Bengals. But the two guys that are going to be on the back half of the top 10 did not reach that status. They didn't make it to 10 years. They made it to 8 and 9 respectively. And that's probably why they're on the back half. But the first guy we're going to start with here is maybe the most dangerous, versatile weapon. I don't want to call him a weapon because he wasn't, I think, offense when I say that. But because he played special teams and was such a dangerous return man, and then if you threw the ball his way, was a dangerous player because he would intercept it, return it, recover fumbles, return it. The guy scored touchdowns at a historic rate for a defensive back. You probably guessed it by now. At number 10 is Lamar Parrish.
Headed up by Lamar Parrish, number 20. The Cincinnati Bengals are deep and excellent athletes, all capable of making the super cat-quick moves required in pass coverage. Against Buffalo, the long road of frustration came to an end, and the spotlight fell squarely on rookie Lamar Parrish, number 20. Parrish sprinted for 2 tape-measure touchdowns, one a 95-yard jaunt with a kickoff, the other an 83-yard trip with a blocked field goal.
Lamar Parrish was a 7th-round pick in the 1970 draft, 163rd overall out of Lincoln College.
Parrish spearheaded a stingy secondary.
More than just a corner with great ball skills, he was dangerous with the ball in his hands. You can see it. It's evident by his kick returns and punt returns and how often he scored when he did get the ball on defense as well. Lamar Parrish was dangerous to throw against because if you did, you were risking that he had better ball skills than the wide receiver you were throwing to, and he routinely made plays on the ball.
79 yards with a punt to give the Bengals an early lead. After losing to the Chicago Bears last week on 2 late fumbles, Pittsburgh appeared willing to give away another game when Lamar Parrish stole the ball from Preston Pearson and carried it in for a score.
Parrish would play in Cincinnati for 8 seasons from 1970 through 1977, appearing in 105 games and starting 101 plus 3 playoff games in 70, 73, and 75. In those 8 years with the Bengals, Lamar Parrish would make 6 Pro Bowls, 2 second-team All-Pros, and 1 first-team All-Pro. Talk about a dominant player in Bengals history.
While number 20 cornerback Lamar Parrish did an excellent imitation of Lim Barney, the Bengals front four could have really taken it easy and just sat back and watched Lamar Parrish, number 20, single-handedly destroy the Oilers. Parrish intercepted 3 passes and turned the game into a red-faced rout. Parrish picked off 1 sideline pass and galloped in for a score. "42 seconds later, following Cincinnati's kickoff, Houston quarterback Ed Baker tried another sideline pass. And Parrish intercepted again and returned it for another touchdown.
In his 8 years with the Bengals, Parrish would intercept 25 balls and return 4 for touchdowns. He'd force 15 fumbles and recover 10 more fumbles for 3 touchdowns.
Parrish scooted in with it for 6.
Forcing Cleveland to kick the ball away to the game's most electrifying little man, Lamar Parrish, number 20. In the 5 years since Lamar Parrish entered the big time from Lincoln University in Missouri, no player has cut such a spectacular trail through the broken ranks of frustrated opponents, and none has surpassed this little bit of lightning.
In his time in Cincinnati, Parrish would return 130 punts for a 9.2-yard average and score 4 touchdowns. He'd return 61 kicks for a 24.7 average and score 1 touchdown. In all, Parrish would score 13 times with the Bengals.
Less than 6 minutes played, Lamar Parrish fielded a punt on his 10 and turned on the jet. When Lyle Blackwood, number 29, cut down Washington's last hope, Parrish eased to a 90-yard touchdown. The Bengals blew open the game when Larry Smith fumbled and Lamar Parrish zigged, then zagged back across the grain for his second touchdown.
What their intimidation lacked in subtlety, their secondary made up for in daring, snatching one of Bradshaw's desperation aerials for 6 points.
Parrish will go on to play 5 more years in the NFL, 4 with Washington and 1 with Buffalo. But in all, he would make 3 first-team All-Pros, 2 second-team All-Pros, and an 8-time Pro Bowler. He's also a member of the Bengals' 40th and 50th anniversary teams. You tell me that resume doesn't look like a Pro Football Hall of Famer. I think if he didn't spend his time in Cincinnati and then Washington, while Washington has had some success, the franchise really hasn't been looked on very highly, very similar to the Bengals, right? And I think at times can be overlooked, some of their players. Splitting between those two teams really hurts your chances of becoming a Pro Football Hall of Fame. But an 8-time Pro Bowler, when do you see 8-time Pro Bowlers not make it? So in my opinion, the least we could do as Bengals fans in the next couple of years is get Lamar Parrish into the Ring of Honor. This is one of the best players that have ever stepped foot in Cincinnati and ever worn the Bengals stripes. Technically didn't wear them, but wore the Bengals on the side there. But Lamar Parrish was so good and so dangerous. And it's he and Ken Riley together is what made those 70s Bengals teams so good. And Parrish was just not just a great corner, a fantastic and the best in the league return man. So when I see him and I look at it and he comes in at number 10 and he's ahead of some guys. I mean, Corey Dillon was not very happy with me, guys. I don't know if you're on Twitter. And if you're not on X, follow us at Joe Goodberry at First Star Logistics. That's the type of interaction you get. But I understood why he was upset being 14. When I got a guy here that made 6 Pro Bowls in his first 8 years with the Bengals. That's AJ Green status. That's Jamar Chase, right? That's what we want. We think the best and most special players in franchise history do. And it's hard to put a guy that didn't play as long and didn't see as much success in terms of Pro Bowls and all. I know Pro Bowls can be a hard way to judge people, but it is what we have. And the tape is there that he was also a special player. So in my opinion, we need to get Lamar Parrish in there. And, at some point there, I think he will. I think everyone in the top 15 is going to make it eventually. So the day's coming for him. And I think he's highly deserving. And then we can push afterwards. So I think we can get him in the Hall of Fame. I think today's episode, we've got one Hall of Famer in this group of 5. And I think we're close on a lot of these guys. And we might get 2 more. I think Parrish is 1. And the next guy at number 9, one of the best Bengals receivers of all time, one of the newest members of the team, latest members, someone who played for the team recently, wide receiver A.J. Green.
With the 4th pick in the 2011 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select A.J. Green.
Everything I have done in my life is always I wanted to be the best. I'm the most competitive guy. I might don't talk a lot, but I'm the most competitive guy probably on that field. I just want to be the best in everything I do. I want to be the best husband, the best dad, and I want to be the best football player. I want to be the best receiver.
You never seen a receiver better than he is at getting to the ball.
I have not, and I said that after 3 days of training camp, that he's the best first-round draft pick I've ever been around.
I remember we were playing Colorado our sophomore year. He jumped up, did a 360 spin, and caught it with one hand.
And what a play going up. A.J. Green bringing it down.
And that's just the kind of athleticism that he has.
And the one-handed grab for A.J. Green, that is a sensational catch.
I practice against him every day. I go every side he go to, I go in and practice. And I know that with his hands, he's the best in the league. There's nobody that's quicker with his hands than A.J.
A nice release from the line of scrimmage by A.J. Green. He got Williams off balance, swim, and broke it up the sideline and got separation.
And the best in the league as far as tapping his feet in bounds. I mean, he put on a clinic. Have you seen the Denver game? The Denver game was unbelievable. I'm talking about he had 3 of them where I don't know how he got his feet in bounds.
Just a high point fade at the back pylon, and A.J. Green gets them both in for the opening score.
When you're going through the moment, you don't look at things like that. But when you go back, wow.
The 4th overall pick in the 2011 NFL Draft out of Georgia, A.J. Green, was instantly dynamic, impactful, and a true number 1 wide receiver.
Easily forgetting about A.J. Green, who's just about as good as anyone you ever want to see play that position.
A.J. Green out to the right from the 13-yard line. 12 seconds to go. Dalton back to throw. Boom! Pass! Boom! Yeah! A.J. Green! Yeah! Touchdown!
That's why I'm here. They pay me the big bucks to make the big plays. So I should try.
Going deep for Green. 3 guys there. A.J.'s there.
Looks like he's going to pick it off. And A.J. just goes up over the top and makes the catch. He is a spectacular wide receiver.
He's got everything you want in a wide receiver, and he's 6'4", so he'll go over top, just throw it up, and he'll go get it.
Playing with the Bengals from 2011 through 2020, A.J. Green made 7 straight Pro Bowls from a rookie until 2017. He was part of the Pro Football Writers Association All-Rookie team in 2011 and made 2 second-team All-Pros.
The catch, a spectacular catch, and there are 2 flags.
Al Davis used to say speed kills, and that is pure speed. You see, they called it pass interference, could have been a hold. But look at the concentration, the eyes of A.J. Green to bring that in with a hard strip from Josh.
And it is bobbled and caught. A.J. Green makes the catch on the ricochet Hail Mary.
A.J. Green would appear in 127 games with the Bengals, starting 125 plus 4 more playoff games, as he was part of playoff teams in 2011, 2012, 2013, 14, and 15. 5 straight playoff appearances for that team. And A.J. Green would catch 649 balls for 9,430 yards and 65 touchdowns.
His second catch of plus 40 for tonight.
Hey, that's what you do. That's how you be great, boy. That's what you do.
In 2015, A.J. Green joined Randy Moss as the only other receiver in NFL history to start his career with 5 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. As for his 5th appearance on the top 100, most of his peers pointed to one play.
Early in the season, we're playing Baltimore. You know, it's a close game. They've just taken the lead.
Need a touchdown, losing the game, and have to make a play.
Dalton fakes a pitch to the left, looks to throw. He's coming down. He'll cut on the run. A.J. Green's going to do it again. At the 30, inside the 20, runs to the 10, 5. Can you believe it?
He catches the ball, spins around, throws somebody off. Somebody flips over each other. I'm like, what the hell? That's what made him one of the best in the game. Because everybody in the world knew he was getting the ball. And he still made that play. Killer.
And a Raven killer he was, routinely coming up with clutch plays, big plays, and just overall dominating the Baltimore Ravens. John Harbaugh once said, "One day we'll figure out how to cover that guy." And they never did. A.J. Green ends up as the Bengals' second leading receiver in every major statistical category: catches, yards, touchdowns. Of course, he could get deep and make the big play downfield with his ball skills and great hands and body control, but he was a surprisingly agile and quick route runner and found ways to get yards after the catch with tough running and a stronger body than it looked. A.J. Green was special in every way.
When you go up there right on the line of scrimmage, looks like you got it. And then breaks back out. What a job by McCarron, finding him on the backside.
Well, I don't think A.J. Green has the pedigree to make a Hall of Fame bid, and maybe like a senior committee down the line after a backlog of receivers eventually get in, but never making first team All-Pro, which I think he would have twice. His best 2 years were cut short due to different injuries, but ultimately his career was cut short due to injuries. His effectiveness at the same time, he should have been much better later in his career. He should have had that type of longevity, just with his play style and his physical abilities. That just didn't end up being there, but he played a long time for the Bengals and obviously one of the best receivers they've ever had. But I 100% think he's a Ring of Honor guy. Like I said, I think all top 15 are, but I think as soon as he's eligible and he's one of the newer guys, we've got one other newer guy on this list, of the final 8 here. No, we got 2 other newer players, last generation players. So that's what I'll call them. That's a better way to say it. We've got 2 actually, because this next one is one. And that I do think has a chance to make the Ring of Honor, not only just Ring of Honor. And that's what I was, 2 thoughts at the same time. A.J. Green, 100% Ring of Honor. This number 8 player has a good shot to be a Hall of Famer. And the Bengals' 3rd Hall of Famer, I think we got a few here remaining on this list. So I don't know who's going to get in next. That's going to be one of our questions. Who's the next Hall of Famer for the Bengals? Is it number 8, longtime offensive tackle, Andrew Whitworth? Andrew Whitworth was a 2nd-round pick in the 2006 NFL Draft, 55th overall out of LSU. Whit would play 11 seasons in Cincinnati through 2016 and would appear in 174 total games for the Bengals.
Walking by the graveyard. We call that acting like you ain't scared, but you're scared.
Well, I feel like with Whitworth, it's more of a mentality with him. When he has his mindset that you're not going to win, that he's going to block you and he's going to make it physical, it doesn't matter what you're doing against him, he's going to make sure he hits you in the mouth.
Despite allowing 0 sacks and only 1 quarterback hit in 2014, Andrew Whitworth's Pro Bowl and top 100 hopes were left out in the cold. Like a Bengal tiger, the 6'7", 330-pound Whitworth was on the prowl in 2015. He racked up first-team All-Pro honors in his first appearance on the top 100.
I can't understand how he's not in the Pro Bowl every year. I think you see what Andrew does on film, locking down that left side all the time. Hardly any pressures, hardly any sacks ever. But I also think he does a lot in the run game, too. I think there's a lot of left tackles out there. They pass block well, but they don't really contribute much in the run game.
I think, for me, when I first got here, he was running 30, 40 yards down the field. Like, I've never seen a lineman do that before. And I think, that constant energy and effort every day to get the job done, it just makes everything easier for us.
Whit was playing rugby. Outstanding effort.
A leader and a captain for many of his teams in Cincinnati, Andrew Whitworth helped organize the team activities in 2011 during a off-season shortened lockout dispute between the NFL and the NFLPA. He and Domata Peko led the offense and defensive practices to make sure the team was organized and ready to go when the season eventually did start. And in his career in Cincinnati, Whitworth would make 3 Pro Bowls, 1 first-team All-Pro, and 1 second-team All-Pro. But I felt Andrew Whitworth played at that level for many more years.
When you look at a guy in this league and you want to look at the way to do it, I think he's a perfect example of that.
It was student body left. They pulled Andrew Whitworth. The Denver Broncos were outflanked at the snap. Whitworth crushes the defensive back.
Credit Whitworth for getting off the bus and taking it to the Denver Broncos' #1 ranked defense.
Andrew Whitworth, LSU national champs.
And Whit suffered from what many Bengals suffered from, where they just weren't recognized until they were much older and later in their careers, because people tend to overlook the Bengals. Because Whit started very early in his career, playing all 16 games in 2006, starting 12 as a rookie, 16 starts his second year. He was very good by the time we got around to 2008 and 2009. And he was 27 and 28 years old. He wasn't elected until his first Pro Bowl until he was 31.
Counter play, you're going to see left guard Clint Bowling, left tackle Andrew Whitworth pull. Good patience by Hill, missed tackle. And how about this finish in speed?
And he wouldn't make his first All-Pro until he was 34. So very late recognition for him. And he ended up playing very, very long. Obviously, winning the Super Bowl, being the oldest lineman to ever win with the Rams, getting the Walter Payton Man of the Year award that final year. And I know that was with the Rams, but he did the same things. He was the same guy when he was in Cincinnati as well.
Lead blocker instead. The pass out here to the tackle eligible on Andrew Whitworth for the touchdown. Nicely done by the Cincinnati Bengals, who get on the...
So keep investing. Lead with your heart. And I can't wait to watch the legacy continue, because remember this, it's a blessing and not a burden to carry on this NFL legacy.
Andrew Whitworth, one of the greatest Bengals, one of the greatest men to ever wear the Bengals stripes and to represent this team, and he still represents it very well. He's in the media now. It's going to keep his name, in the NFL circles. It's going to help him get to that Hall of Fame enshrinement. I believe he'll get it. He'll get it. And now we've got another offensive lineman still ahead of him that arguably had a better career and more accolades. Maybe was better. I mean, it's hard. We're talking about the top 10 players of all time in Bengals history, and so I don't want to discredit Whitworth. He was so good. He wasn't recognized for it. But I just think we have 2 linemen left, is what I was trying to get to, that have a shot at the Hall of Fame. And I think both are going to eventually make it, which is fun. It means we got a lot of fun coming up as Bengals fans, especially last generation Bengals fans. I think we're going to see a lot of these guys. I think we're going to see, starting with number 8 year and everyone above, eventually make the Hall of Fame within the next 10 years or so. So Whitworth may be the last. I don't know. I'm very interested to see how that goes. Because I do think eventually Willie Anderson, who's good, we know is going to be on this list still, but I do think he gets in. And we've got a couple others. I think Kenny Anderson's got a shot still as a senior committee member. So while I say there's hopes for these guys, the hopes and prayers were answered for our next player, and he's our first Hall of Famer on this list, because the Bengals only have technically 2, although Charlie Joyner is a Bengal. Was a Bengal on this list that made the Hall of Fame, so I guess I could say 3. Either way, number 7 on the 100 greatest Bengals of all time is Ken Riley.
In 1969, he was drafted in the 6th round by Coach Paul Brown.
We were at training camp. I think it was the 2nd or 3rd day we had been there. My dad was standing by watching the quarterbacks practice. Kenny Riley was a quarterback at Florida A&M, so he started out there. My father walked up to him and said, "Kenny, you go over there." And he pointed to the cornerbacks. What we saw was a guy that had all the innate abilities you would want in a cornerback.
When I hit the field, Paul Brown came up to me and said, "You are a defensive back," plain and simple. First of all, I was just happy to get that opportunity, so it didn't bother me.
Never played defensive back at all.
Right away, as a young player, I noticed who was one of the best players on the football team. You had to notice him because he was doing something great all the time.
And Sipe will go back in to throw. Fires out in the flat. Intercepted by Riley. Down to the 35, the 30. May go all the way. He will. Reggie Williams is blitzing off in the flat, intercepted. It may be a touchdown. Down to the 35. Kenny Riley will go all the way easily.
Will go back in the throw. Fires out in the flat. Intercepted by Riley. Down to the 35, the 30. May go all the way. He will. After 15 years, the Rattler was retiring, and the Bengals' last home game was dedicated to him. Ken Riley joined the Bengals in 1969 and made an immediate impact on NFL receivers. Riley is fourth on the NFL's all-time interception list with 65, and throughout his career, he has taken on some of the best receivers in NFL history, not only on the field, but on paper.
One of the longest tenured Bengals in their history, Ken Riley would play 15 seasons and appear in 214 games. Not only was he great, dominant, big playmaker, he was durable and he had the longevity, and he was just an awesome guy.
So 15 years later, Ken Riley found himself wearing stripes, while his opponents found themselves seeing stars. He led the team in the AFC with 8 interceptions and scored twice in his last season.
A quick shout out in the flat. It's intercepted by Kenny Riley, and it'll be a touchdown. Down to the 10-5, touchdown. Kenny Riley picked off Jack Thompson's first pass out of the left flat.
Ken Riley is a classic performer who will be sorely missed in Cincinnati.
Some guys do a lot of talking, and the talk doesn't match up with the play. It comes back to bite you in the end. Ken Riley never got bit.
He was cerebral. He studied his opponents. He had notebooks upon notebooks of studying receivers. Those 65 interceptions came as much by his brain as they did his athletic ability.
And I used to jot down information on the receivers that beat me, what moves they used to beat me, and I did it so that if I played them again, that I wouldn't make the same mistake twice.
Take a look at Rattler, Ken Riley. This was his signature move right here. When a wide receiver went airborne, he took the legs out from under them and made them do a backward somersault on their heads. Again, Kenny Riley on film study, understood concepts, route concepts, suckered this throw right here, played off, then broke on the football, take it to the house. Big touchdown for the Rattler, Kenny Riley.
He ran, he threw, drew up plays on the turf. That's how good he was.
I mean, I think that when you talk about Kenny Riley's legacy, I mean, it touches everything. It touches the field, it touches off the field.
He made it look easy. He wasn't boisterous. He wasn't tooting his own horn.
Kenny didn't say a word. You don't have to talk about how good you are. If you're good enough, people will talk about you.
And he played 15 years. He even got better as he was older. So that's one of the remarkable things, because he retired at 36.
After one game, he was coming home. They had to take him to the hospital, to fill him up with fluid again. Then he said, "This will be my last year."
Riley. When he retired in 1983, only Night Train Lane and Ken Riley, they're the two top pure cornerbacks with 65 interceptions or more. Kenny has 65. It is the way he did it a cerebral guy. He almost got a Rhodes Scholarship when he was at A&M. He kept notebooks. He kept very detailed notes on the receivers. Later became a head coach and an athletic director at his alma mater. Chris Collinsworth said he never saw him make a mistake in a practice or a game. The Rattler, one of the all-time greats.
Few could match him as a cornerback, and none could match him as a teammate. Now my Bengals brother finally takes his place in Canton, the late Ken Riley. Representing Ken is his son, Ken Riley II.
You didn't hear much from me there during his highlights because, you know, all the efforts that everyone put together. I mean, who am I to speak on Ken Riley when so many influential voices and people that knew him put out such great content over the last few years after his passing in an effort to get him recognized by the Hall of Fame world and get him into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You know, guys like Ken Riley Jr. and his son and his wife, and Mike Brown spoke of how he was drafted and how he was switched positions. Dave Lapham, Jeff Hobson. So much great content. It was easy to put this together. I remember 5 years ago trying to look at Ken Riley footage, and it was difficult to find it. So this is a congratulations to everyone in the Bengals community that came together the last few years and made sure he would not be forgotten. So Ken Riley, the exact opposite of our next guy here, number 6 on the Greatest 100 Bengals. There is so much footage and there are so many highlight reels and content. And I mean, you can type in his name and scroll for days, and I don't think you would ever get to the end of it. I don't think, and this is the reason why I think he should be a Hall of Famer real quick, because I don't think you can tell the story of the 2000s NFL without this player at number 6. Chad Johnson. Chad is now the 5th player in this series that has made the Bengals Ring of Honor. The former second-round pick in 2001 out of Oregon State, Chad Johnson was a star, and he was everything about the Bengals in the early 2000s that we needed him to be.
Y'all talk about me? From point A to point B, stop. My ability to run full speed and stop on a dime. And just being very precise. No wasted movement. Easily the best route runner to ever play the game. I'm not sure who would want to argue with that. We can pull up the film.
I used to tell Chris McAllister my routes. Chris, I got a slant. What you gonna do? I used to tell him. They couldn't stop me. It's not that I was a physical presence and nah, it's not what it was. My feet, they were scared of my feet. There was nothing you could do.
His abruptness and his ability to start and stop. I don't know if there's a receiver that's played this game that could create more separation than Chad could.
His quickness was a major problem. I didn't really want to be in man coverage, no matter who we had on.
We're double covering this, so you deal the night off. Come on. We're going to watch you run in the end zone and spike the ball here.
He made the Bengals cool.
You can always count on me. I'm like life insurance.
Who comes into a franchise that was having the trouble they were having at the time, and 2 years later, the Bengals were cool, man.
Chad Ochocinco shows great body control.
Chad Johnson, perfect hands, perfect feet.
I got a trivia question. It's a new year, same old question. How do you stop 85?
Playing 10 seasons through 2010, making 3 first-team All-Pros, 1 second-team All-Pro, and 6 Pro Bowls. As a receiver, Chad Johnson's cat-like quickness, acceleration, agility, feet, and body control and ball skills, and the body control of a contortionist made him uncoverable.
Fake going up top. Has a man, Johnson. Let's see if they rule this a catch.
Let's watch his feet. 1 foot down, 2 feet. Oh, wow.
A big-time reception.
And here's another long ball. Chad Johnson, the fastest Bengal, has it. He's going in. And the most spectacular pass play of this season.
And Ed Reed right there, number 20, has got to beat on. He's going to pick it off, but he misses the ball.
Bengals now trailing 21-10. Rush coming. Palmer throws. Look, the ball's thrown behind him, but watch him stop, dive back. Look at the sticky hands. That 14-0 there. Palmer throwing the long ball. Deep down the field. Oh, what a catch. Oh, Chad Johnson's got it. Touchdown, Cincinnati.
Palmer looking to go deep, launches it. Way down for Chad Johnson. He's got it. Chad Johnson, touchdown.
That is the 10th touchdown pass for Carson Palmer, the 4th catch for Chad Johnson. Watch him get his feet down.
And please throw me another.
Exactly.
2nd and 10. And he will. To Johnson. Race for the end zone. Johnson's in. Palmer, short drop. Throw. Caught by Johnson. And you leave the one guy open, turns him loose on the safety, Sean Jones, who can't get over. He likes that chicken dance, doesn't he?
It is Oktoberfest here in Cincinnati.
But it was Chad Johnson's infectious personality and confidence that won over Bengals fans, and his playful personality and comedic timing that made him a superstar on the NFL landscape.
To make him the first man in the history of the modern NFL to win 4 straight conference receiving yardage titles, and left a blaze of highlights at the center of the Bengals renaissance under head coach Marvin Lewis that made the stripes one of the most recognizable uniforms in the NFL.
I know you can't cover, you too pretty.
There was a time where you couldn't cover him. People invented defenses to try to cover him, where a team just like, okay, we're going to put 2 people on this guy. We're going to leave the other 9 to try to defend your other 10 people, but this guy's not going to do that to us. He was the first time I'd seen that.
Bro, has time. Going deep, wide open, Chad Johnson. Shakes free to the 10, the 5, another. Chad Johnson, touchdown. Going back to last year's regular season. Now another chance for Palmer. For Chad Johnson. Caught! Touchdown! Jacket was in the second. First, the touchdown play.
They used the stack release. They snuck Hushmanzada out in the flat, and you get the...
Sorry, old school. Meet the new school. This is how it's gonna be. I like that. So whether you like it or not, if you line up on me on Sundays, that's what you're gonna get. Chad Johnson, 85. I am the best receiver in the NFL. What can I say? I'm the mouth, I'm the motor, I'm the thing that keeps us running.
Touchdown, Chad Johnson!
The new Bengals. We are the team to beat, period.
The Bengals are 4-0.
It's ridiculous. Who can cover me? 85 can't even stop 85.
Palmer, a free down, goes to the sideline to Chad Johnson. He caught that. Oh, my. The ball thrown behind him off the back shoulder somehow kept his feet in bounds and speared that ball.
Chad Johnson, known for everything off the field, the confidence, the bravado, the jokes, getting under other teams' skin, the celebrations, obviously, but it was what he did on the field in Cincinnati. When he left, he was the all-time leading receiver in every major statistical category, and he goes down as the best receiver in Bengals history.
And that will give Chad Johnson the record as the Bengals all-time leading receiver, breaking the mark set by Carl Pickens, and he wants to keep that football. And there it is.
There it is.
First down and goal of the 8. Palmer pumping, fires in the end zone. Ochocinco there, touchdown. Ochocinco, 64 career receiving touchdowns, most in the history of the Cincinnati franchise.
4 straight years leading the AFC in receiving yards. Dynamic playmaker and game changer. The franchise leader in all-time receiving yards. Number 85, Chad Johnson.
Chad Johnson coming at number 6. That means we got the top 5 players left to go, and that's going to be, I think there's at least one shock in there, maybe one player we've forgotten about, just because, I think once we get here, people can pretty much figure it out. Don't guess it, though. Wait for the episode. But Chad at 6, I think if you're just going off emotion and the fun and the attachment and how much that player meant to you being a Bengals fan, I wonder how many players created more Bengals fans than Chad Johnson did. I bet there's not a lot. Maybe Boomer, Joe Burrow currently, right? But that's the impact Chad had. He made you proud to be a Bengals fan. He was a proud Bengal. And I think that goes a lot into the legacy bonus and the ranking here. People are going to say, oh, I should have been top 5. But I think 6 is, I mean, he's in Ring of Honor already. He's remembered. He's borderline Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Had he have had a little bit more longevity, he probably would be in the Hall of Fame or knocking on the door. But he's somebody that deserves to be remembered and will be. I mean, he's been relevant still since retiring. One of the most relevant players from that era still after his playing days, and still an advocate for Cincinnati and the Bengals and their success and everything about them. And so many fans probably have great stories of meeting Chad Johnson, meeting Chad Ochocinco, and just being him being a bubbly personality and a happy person. So I'm glad to see him on this list. One of my favorite players, one jersey I still have 2 Chad Johnson jerseys actually that I still keep to this day. So one of my favorites of all time, and very deserving of being number 6 in the 100 greatest Bengals of all time. This has been Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, share. And until next time, Uday.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.